Hello, Kavita ma'am. Welcome to the show. Tremendous honor to have you. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, thank you, Akash, and a very good morning. And it's a
Mm,
pleasure being on your show. So, thank you for inviting me. So,
Pleasure.
I'm Kavita Yadav. Uh, I'm a counseling psychologist and a parenting coach, and a career counselor, and an author too. So, I turned an author in during lockdown with my first book on parenting. So, that's about me. And I work with parents, families, teenagers, right? And I put up and put down.
Right. So the topic we chose for today's podcast is parenting and child development. So could you give some advice on healthy way of parenting?
Okay. So, the definition for the healthy way of parenting, Akash, may differ from each parent and family.
Yes.
And accordingly, so will the parenting style also, right?
Mhm.
So, like every parent wants best when it comes for their children. So, to understand a healthy way of parenting, it would be nice to understand first different parenting styles and different parenting styles as per the research. They fall into four main categories and they are divided on the basis of two variables like
Mhm.
one is demandingness. So when I say demandingness, you may understand it as being controlling parents, like on the control variable, and another is responsiveness, that is the love and warmth. So based on these two variables, I mean the parenting styles are divided into four types. So one is the authoritarian, right? Second is authoritative, the dictatorship, the democratic parenting style. Then comes the permissive parenting style. And the last one, which was added recently, is the neglectful parenting style.
Mhm.
So these are the four parenting styles which researchers have given us. So it might be that you use as a parent one or more of these parenting styles at different times, depending on the situation and the context out there
Mhm.
throughout the day, throughout your parenting. And research tell us that out of all these four parenting styles, authoritative parenting style is the most advisable parenting style and healthy parenting style. So, what do authoritative parents do is like they're more supportive and they tune into their children's needs and wants. They guide their children with the help of open and honest discussions, communications. They teach them values on the way and they also reason it out with them.
Mhm.
So, instead of always coming to a child's rescue every time a child is making a mistake or taking a wrong turn, as per to say, right? So, what do
Mhm.
authoritative parents do? They allow their children to make mistakes, Akarsh. And when they do so, it offers the children, the kids out there, the opportunity to learn while at the same time also letting them know that their parents will be there to support them. And that's what healthy parenting should be. I mean, that's what I feel. What do you think about it, Akash?
I think love and support is very important. Right. So, what is the importance of having a healthy role model for children to project?
Hmm. Healthy role models for children to introject. Okay, so having a healthy role model around you is very, very important because you see, for children, this their thinking brain, right, the prefrontal cortex is still developing for them. So for them, it is very important to have such people, such role models around them who are able to make them feel safe, secure, and confident. And at the same time, these role models are able to guide them in making healthy, responsible decisions, I would say.
Mhm.
So children are still developing their own identities and therefore they're trying very hard, Akash, to emulate these role models who are around them. So having a good role model is extremely important for children and their development. So role models, what should these role models do? They should actually inspire these children to instill good behavior, to strive to achieve the goals that they have made for
Mhm.
themselves and influence their life decisions.
Right. Right. Okay. Would you say that parenting is more of an art or a science?
Okay, so more of a science or an art. Uh, I would like to go with that. Parenting is both science and art, Akash.
Mm-hmm.
To
Yeah.
start off, why science? Why science? Because for parenting, we need to understand not only child's development, the various milestones that a child transits through while growing up,
Mm-hmm.
right? But also parenting needs that to understand that why, that what we infer, why we infer.
Okay.
The parents' patterns of bringing up their own children, right? And
Mm-hmm.
understanding how their brains are functioning while they are growing up. And all this is science, neuroscience.
Right.
So parenting is also science, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
also means like involves both biology and neuroscience. When we talk about a child's development at physical and cognitive level, emotional level also involved. And while doing so, uh, parents also use their art and creativity, Akarsh. How when they're bringing up, when they're dealing with their children, when they are engaging with their children, they have to choose their responses each time very,
Mm-hmm.
very carefully and thoughtfully,
Mm-hmm.
right? While
Right.
they are with their children, and while they're helping them with their challenges, different concerns out there. So
Mm-hmm.
this is where the creativity of parents comes out. So I would certainly again reiterate that parenting is both science and art. If you ask me, I mean, I can't choose one of them, that parenting is only science or only art.
Right. So, what is your specialization and how can one contact you?
Okay, so as I shared with you while I was introducing myself, my specialization is that I'm a counseling psychologist and a parenting coach and a career counselor,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I work in the field of parenting, mental health, emotional well-being, helping children choose their career paths which are
Mm-hmm.
that's suited for them in a scientific, unbiased manner.
Mm-hmm.
So I work with families, parents, children, young children, teenagers. So that's my specialization, helping them with their behavioral, emotional challenges out there. And when I talk about parenting, parenting doesn't only mean for parents to deal with children's misbehaviors, Akash. It is also about their relationship as a couple, as parents. So I also work with them on their relationship issues and challenges,
Mm-hmm.
if any are there. And how can people contact me? They can visit my website. There's a form given in there. They can fill that form, book their slots, or they can contact me on WhatsApp, or this new generation through Insta. They can DM me and get in touch with me.
Right. So, where should we draw the line between giving children safe space and protect them and making them independent and self resilient?
Hmm. Drawing a line between protecting and giving a safe space to children is what you asked, right? And
Letting them
in
grow and
turn,
yeah,
letting them grow
making
and
them independent and between protecting them.
okay, right, right. So first, let me start by explaining what does this word resilience mean. So resilience basically means it is your capacity and ability to bounce back, to
Mm-hmm.
recover quickly from the difficulties that you're facing in your life. So who are the ones who can bounce back quickly, who can recover quickly from such difficulties? Those people who are aware that yes, they're having a difficulty first. They should be in aware and acceptance of that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they should be aware of their own emotions and emotional reactions, and also aware of the other people's behaviors who are around them. So once they have the awareness of all these things, it will help them to recover quickly from the
Right,
challenges or the difficulties that they're facing, right? You agree on that?
right.
So now, for children, coming back to children, it is like as we send them to school to learn about mathematics, about
Mm-hmm.
science, how to read and write, and maybe other activities like how to interact with their peers, and all of it. At the same time, this is pure academics that I'm talking about. At the same time, it is very, very important to teach our children and talk to them about their emotions. What are emotions? Because as I shared with you, I work with a lot of teenagers and young children out there. Akash, let me tell you, they are not aware of what emotions are.
Right.
Different types of emotions. They can't even figure it out what they're feeling at that point of time. They don't have that right vocabulary with them. So it becomes all the more important to talk to our children about emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And as parents, how we can help them is we need to walk the talk first, right? We have to be those role models for our children, because children are all the time observing us while they are growing up. And then when they step into schools, they are observing their teachers, their educators, their parent like figures who are around them, and they're observing them and absorbing whatever is they are observing, right? So it becomes all the more important for parents and the elders around them to draw a line, right? And giving them a safe space where they can ask questions and not be fearful
Right.
while asking those
Right.
questions. That is very important, right? But what happens that most of the times parents make this mistake that when children come to us, given their own XYZ reasons, either they're too busy in their own life, right? Or they're not able to give that ample, that quality time to their children, right? Where children feel safe and secure to ask questions. So it is very important that when a child is transiting from one development stage to another, they have those loving, respecting, listening, understanding, supporting adults, parents around them.
Right.
So as parents, we have to make a point that at least let's give listening ears to our children and then appreciate the efforts done by our children. And do not straight away jump into like labeling them or shaming them if in case they've done something which they should not have done, right? So as parents, as soon as your child starts walking and talking, please see that you allow your children to make those small choices out there. For example, it could be as simple as that which color of dress you want to wear better today, right? And what are the matching shoes you would like to have with that particular dress? A very small this thing, but to save time and to save everything around that chaos that happens when children are allowed to make that choice, parents choose themselves and they just put it on their children. But if we are giving our children these small choices from beginning only, right? So it will help that child to learn how to take the right decisions and be responsible for the outcome that comes based on the decision taken by the child.
Right.
And as parents, you be around your child, right? You keep an eye on him or her. And be very cautious. If you see or sense any danger, be there to protect your child. But till that time, give him that space to grow, to evolve, and to take decisions for himself or herself.
Right. Right. What are your views on instilling discipline? Should the pocket money of the child be cut when they do something bad, or should they be grounded or not allowed to have mobile phones?
So again, it is very contextual, Akash, right? When you talk about pocket money, every family will have a different perspective towards it. Some families may not give that pocket money to children before a certain age, and it is right also. I mean, so we have to decide that when can a child handle finances properly and rationally. So for that to happen, again, since the time the child starts walking and talking, since the time we start giving that choice to children to choose which dress to wear, I mean, what to eat and eat it on their own. From that very time, it is very important to talk about finances with the children. Because if you do it since beginning, right, as I said, the brains are still developing, right? So slowly and slowly, they will process it inside their head about finances, about money. For example, if you're going out and your young child is with you in the market space, right? And so, and if a child says, "Ki, Ma, I want those chips or that chocolate," small things, I mean, what
Right.
they require at
Right.
any particular age, what you can do, you be around and you ask the child to first go and pick whatever the child is wanting. If you have reasoned it out before with the child that, okay, you're allowed to take these things once we are inside the shop. And after that, as per the child's age, hand over the money to him. You be there with your child and ask him and go to the cash account, department, and give the money.
Right.
Only that confidence of taking that note in your hand, walking independently and giving to the other person, right? For a 5 or 6 year old, will give a boost to his
Right.
self-confidence and self-esteem. Right? He may not be able to calculate that kitna dena hai and kitna wapis aayega given his age of 5 to 6 years old. Perfectly fine. You are there to do the calculation and check the money. But at least let him have the feel and the responsibility of having that money in his hand. And as the child grows, obviously, मैथ्स बढ़ेगा, कैलकुलेशन बढ़ेंगी, तो वो हिसाब किताब करना भी सीख जाएगा एंड धीरे धीरे रिस्पॉन्सिबल होना भी सीख जाएगा टुवर्ड्स द फाइनेंसेस. सो व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, that do not keep your children away from these discussions, right? Involve them given their age and discuss the matter with them accordingly. This will really help the children in this area of financial independence and responsibility.
Right. Okay. What is the role of the father in the development of a child?
Okay. So, like mothers, fathers do have an essential role to play when it comes to parenting, Akash. Children look up to their fathers as a strong pillar of the family. And they feel safe to test boundaries while growing up if fathers are around.
Okay.
And specifically in our Indian culture, even today when mothers are stepping out and they have also started earning and shouldering the responsibility of earning for the family, still, Akash, I would say fathers remain and are looked up to as the main member of the family to take care of the safety and security of the family members, both physically and financially. So, though majorly the emotional support comes from the mother, right? There's no second thought on it. Though fathers are also involved, but mainly that emotional security, children look up to their mom because she is most of the times around their children, right? But then there are times and moments when children look up to their fathers also for that emotional support. So fathers are very much the primary parents. And children want and need their love of their fathers. So children who grow up into the presence of their fathers around, right? A loving, caring father around, they grow up to be a total different kind of confident personality out there.
Right.
And you must have seen, I don't know, if you have your cousins, younger cousins around you, or you remember your own childhood. When children in the evening time, they wait so anxiously for the fathers to return home. And the moment they hear that horn of the car or the scooter or the bike, you see the chirpiness in their voice and they start running here and there and daud lagana shuru kar dete. I mean, that's the excitement that they look forward to of their fathers returning home.
Right.
So they love the presence of their father. They love to hear his voice, right? And play freely around him. So I hope that helps you understand the role of a father in the development of a child, Akash, and you agree with that also.
So, if we talk about teenagers, what is a healthy way to deal with them?
Healthy way to deal with teenagers. Okay. So teenagers are very sweet and salty years for any individual out there. Right. And so the biggest mistake as parents that we make with our teenage children is that either during those years we become too friendly with them, right? Because of the reasons ki hangama nahi chahiye and we don't want any chaos. So we just try to be their friends. Right? Or we come across as more controlling and hovering parents over our teenagers. because of our concerns, because of whatever we hear about the teenage years. But these are two extremes, either being too permissive or being too controlling. They are two extremes, and either of the extreme is not healthy. Extremes are never healthy, right? So we need to remember our own teenage times as parents. Agreed, though it was a different era when we were growing up, this kind of technology intervention was not there, but still the emotions, the feelings, the physical changes that a teenage goes through, it still remains the same. So what I would advise to parents is that instead of just being a friend to your child or just being a parent to your child, try to be a friendly parent to your teenager. You know,
Right.
and how to be a friendly parent. How to be a friendly parent. So that is what most of the parents ask. So friendly parent बने कैसे मैम, मतलब वो ही समझ में नहीं आता. तो दोस्त बनने की कोशिश करते हैं तो गड़बड़ हो जाती है, और जहां से पेरेंट बन जाते हैं वहां भी बात नहीं बनती. So how to walk this very very thin line, I mean, during these teenage years with our children. So what I would advise is that first, encourage your teenage children to share what they are feeling. You just be around and listen to them. What the mistake we do is, the moment the child starts telling us something that this happened, that happened with me or with my friend, we immediately switch to that only being a parent mode and start giving that gyan and lecture. Oh, ऐसा हुआ, ऐसे करना चाहिए था, ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए था, and all of that. So just listen. Plain, simple listening helps a lot, right? Because adolescence, teenage year means independence, Akash, right? And needing a space for yourself while growing up is very, very normal want of a child, right? So try to give your teenage the appropriate time and space to be on their own, and you be there to support them on this journey.
Right.
And if any conflict occurs, just work through them. Again, listen and try to sort out that conflict calmly by first managing your own emotions out there. And last but not the least, I would say that dear parents, do take care of yourself as well. Because what happens during parenting, we start feeling that burn. We also start getting exhausted, right? So it is very important that first we take care of ourselves, our own emotional needs. And if I am calm, I am happy, I'm taking care of myself, I'll be doing the same for my child also.
Right. Makes sense. Right. What are the elements of a healthy functioning family?
Well, as we have seen and discussed before also, Akash, that definition of healthy may differ from each parent to each family out there.
Right.
Still, there are several common features of healthy, happy families, like open communication, open, honest communication with your children, and parents leading by example, as we were talking about walking the talk, right? Conflict management, do it calmly, right? And set clear expectations and limits. Have family rules, not only rules for children out there, have family rules that everybody has to follow those family rules.
Okay.
And don't be too tight in your role as a parent.
Right.
Relax. Take a chill pill, parents out there. I mean, so the more relaxed you are, it will be easier for you to be on this journey with your children.
So
You must have heard.
Sorry.
So I was just saying that you must have heard that a family that eats together stays together.
Right.
So have ample time with your children, with your family members, laugh, enjoy, do funny things. I mean, add humor to your parenting, and it will help you a lot. That is what I was sharing.
Right. Right. So, like, how can the parents teach their siblings how to deal with each other?
How can parents teach their
Children, the siblings, how to deal with each other?
okay? How should the siblings deal with each other?
Right.
Okay. So the best way is, again, and this does not happen in most of the families. When the second child is about to come, Akash, right? No one takes out that time to help the firstborn understand and educate him that there's going to be an addition into the family. That is very important, right? Talk it out to your first child, because till this time, he or she was the center of attention of all the family members out there, the only child in the house, getting all the attention, pampering, love, warmth, everything. Now, a second one is going to come, who is going to share the time, the attention from this firstborn, because there are only 24 hours.
Right.
So, the parents, the grandparents in the family will, of course, take out time from his time and give it to the second. So it is very important. If we manage it at this point and we start educating our firstborn, right? Believe me, it becomes so much easy for you to bring up both the children together, or two or three for that matter. The point is to help your children understand that there's going to be a new addition, right? And talk to that child around him. But be very cautious. Do not make this firstborn or elder children an adult immediately कि अब तो तुम बड़े हो गए हो, अब ये छोटा है तो इसको ज्यादा चाहिए, and all of those. No. The firstborn is still a child, right? There may be a gap of 3 years, 5 years, or even 7 to 8 years, right? But still, if a child is 10 years old and then the second child is coming into the family, still the child is only 10 years old. He's still a child, right? But what happens? You say, ab tum bade ho gaye ho. And that 10-year-old doesn't even realize bada hona kya hota hai. So from there, then that sibling jealousy may start if we do not handle it properly. So I think working around this will help a lot to have that bond between siblings and grow up together,
Right.
respectfully.
So, is it healthy for a child to deviate from parental expectations?
I will say it is very normal for a child to deviate from parental expectations, Akash. Because they're independent personalities who are curious, who want to explore the world around them, right? And they even want to explore their own bodies, the way they behave, their own behavior, their parents' behavior. So it is very, very normal for any child to deviate from parental expectations, right? So as we were discussing, to give these children small choices like which color t-shirt you want to wear, what is it that you want to eat, बहुत छोटी सी बात है, but parent की expectation हो सकती है कि नहीं, we are going out and I want my child to wear that new blue t-shirt that I bought for him, right? So अब choice देनी है कि तो parent ने एक red और एक blue दोनों t-shirt बच्चे के सामने रख दी. अब वो बारी बारी पुश कर रहे हैं उस blue t-shirt को कि बच्चा उसको pick कर ले. But then the child is a child. He may end up picking the other t-shirt out there. So parents' expectations. What happened to the parent expectation? The child deviated. But big deal, right? So when a child is young, these deviations, they seem cute. Parents are happy when the child is making such deviations or such choices which are different from the choices of the parents. But when children do the same in their teenage years, again, parents are not able to handle it. Right?
What about academic expectations?
Okay. First of all, if you ask me, I'll say do not keep expectations. It's a very idealistic situation that I'm giving out there. But having said that, expectations do come in any relationship, and more so in a parent-child relationship. Even before the child is born, parents start setting expectations from the child. ओ हम उसको ऐसे बनाएंगे, ऐसा उसको बड़ा करेंगे, and वो ये बनेगा, वो बनेगा, and our own unfulfilled desires and dreams, even before the child is born, we start putting it on that child, right? So when we are talking about academic expectations, Expectation here would mean that your child should enjoy academics, your child should enjoy going to school, and your child should enjoy learning. Those expectations are healthy. But if you're having expectations that no, my child should be among the best, I mean, and he should always top, he should always score 100 out of 100, those are very, very unhealthy expectations to keep from a child. Then you are not allowing the child to flourish in an ambience, in a nurturing manner, right? So that is very unhealthy, Akash. So whatever expectations you have, right, or you have it in your mind, discuss it in a very healthy, open way with your children. Let them know that what you are expecting. Again, I would say listen to them. What do they think of those expectations? Right? As I said, they are independent personalities. They may have their own thought process. Whether they think they will be able to fulfill those expectations or not. So a healthy, open discussions should be an ongoing thing in families.
Thank you, Kavita ma'am. I think time has finished. So I will stop the recording here. It's been a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Akash. Same.